Keeping us safe by ignoring reality. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. The Wynne government in Ontario is finally onto an issue that people actually care about. That is traffic and road safety. I'm not joking here. This is actually an issue that drives most complaints to police across the whole country. People want their streets to be safe, whether they're walking, cycling, driving. That's what they want. They want their streets to be safe. But there's a set of new regulations, some of which are good, some of which are bad. A batch of them came into effect on September 1st. More are going to come into effect in the new year. And some of them, let's be frank, just ignore reality. Let's start with the good. There's changes on the distracted driving front. Look, texting while you're driving, never a good idea. Previously, if you were caught texting and driving, you'd face a fine of between $60 and $500. Now you're going to be facing a fine of $490 and loss of 3 demerit points. If you happen to be a novice driver, you're going to face a minimum 30-day suspension. Then there's dooring a cyclist. That's where you stop your car, maybe you've parallel parked on the side of the road, and you open the door. You hit the cyclist. Before, you used to face a fine of $60 to $500. Now it's going to be $365 fine and 3 demerit points. This is where things start to get dodgy, though, because there's also a change about passing cyclists. According to law, you've got to give a 1-meter berth when passing a cyclist. If you don't, you're going to face a $110 fine and the loss of 2 demerit points. And it's a $180 fine and loss of 2 demerit points if you fail to leave a 1-meter distance when passing a cyclist in a community safety zone. Let me give you scenarios here. How many times have you passed a cyclist, you've given them enough room, and then you get up to the stoplight and they zip past on the inside between you and the curb? You gave them the room, they're not taking it, and they're no longer following the rules. Happens to me every time. In fact, once, as a passenger in a car, went to get out at a stoplight, went to open the door of a cyclist I had passed recently. No room between my car and the curb. Guess what? Just about hit them. They lost their mind. Why? They weren't following the rules, but it would be me or the driver who would lose the 2 demerit points and face the fine. What about giving the 1-meter berth? You give the 1-meter berth, and at the next intersection, the cyclist is driving up next to you. They're not taking it. Shouldn't they also be facing fines? Unfortunately, under these new regulations, there's no change for that. It's not a 2-way street, it's a 1-way street. Now, speaking of 1-way streets, what about pedestrians? Under these new regulations, it comes into effect on January 1st, you're going to actually have the pedestrian cross over the entire crosswalk before you're allowed to go through. So whether you're turning left, turning right, going straight, the pedestrian has to be all the way through. How many times are you sitting at a light, waiting to turn left, waiting to turn right? The flashing hand is up, the little man telling you can walk is gone, but the pedestrians still keep coming. In fact, they keep coming until your light's already red. You've lost your ability, and now they're crossing in the other direction. I work in downtown Ottawa. This happens every single day. If you're in downtown Toronto and other cities, it's going to be even worse. Is there a huge problem that these regulations are taking aim at? No, not really. Like I said, people want to be safe. They want the roads to be safe. Number one complaint, traffic, but normally in smaller suburban neighborhoods. I think that we need to be realistic, and I think we also need to be fair. If we're going to start going after drivers for not treating pedestrians and cyclists with respect, what about going after cyclists and pedestrians for not obeying the laws and not treating drivers with the same respect that they demand?